You want me to start or you?
You.
Did I? Me?
Yeah. This is your baby. Okay, cut.
Hey, this is the Where's My Invite podcast with Billy and Joe.
So, do you want to start with the name of the podcast or how we met first?
Let's do the stuff about the podcast first.
Okay.
So we're planning on having this podcast be general, hopefully comedic podcast. You know, pop culture stuff, books, movies, TV shows,
Video games, news,
video games, streaming,
whatever
news.
Flavor of the month. Basically, whatever flavor of the month is.
Anything exciting that we deem exciting, it'll be in the podcast.
Right. How about we go for how we came up with the name for the podcast?
Yeah, so every time we play a game with Billy here, he always has to come into our voice chat and say, "Where's my invite?"
Right. So we're in a party, right? So, well, I'm not going to explain Steam, but if I get
explain
pinged,
Steam.
Explain Steam?
Yeah.
Well, when a developer creates a game, they put it on Steam.
Not like the birds and the bees.
That's what I was going for.
Okay. I'm glad I picked that up.
When a developer loves its game very much. Okay, well, Steam is similar to other gaming platforms. It's basically the premier PC platform.
Yeah.
For playing games. Just about every game you can go through Steam. Although, actually, there has been a few on the rise recently.
What? Like what?
Xbox Game Pass.
Oh, shit.
Okay, you can play Xbox Game Pass. Sponsor me.
Yeah, I'd prefer to get a sponsor.
Blizzard has Battle.net.
Yeah, but Battle.net's trash. It only has a few games.
Minecraft isn't a part of the Steam hub.
Which it only has Minecraft. I would not consider that up and coming.
Minecraft and Minecraft Dungeons also on Xbox Game Pass.
Okay, it's up and coming. Fair point.
Right. I can't think of it. Oh, maybe like the EA random ones. Origin, which is always a pain in my butt. Epic Games. I think something I've had deleted for maybe 2 or 3 years now.
But I deleted it and then I have to re-download it for something later.
Right. Steam is okay. So Steam is the only thing, right? And here's the thing: when you get a Steam game, right, and you're ready to play, say there's been an existing party, okay, and you get called up, you get called off the bench, okay, you get to play with the starters in whatever game, okay, usually Rocket League for us, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I joined the voice call. You know, what the hell? What are you doing? What's up? Why are you pinging me? Okay, and then this is almost always followed by a one-word reply, Rocky, right?
Yeah, Rocky.
And then
or Ghosty,
or Ghost, right? And there's a format. This is standard practice actually now, but most importantly, when you play on Steam, you can launch the game and then go through their shift tab menu to accept the game, to do this, to do that. Or whoever's inviting you can just send you an invite. And it's a one-click play game, right?
Yeah.
One-click play game. And then my game launches. I don't have to hit play. I don't have to hit shift tab and then accept.
He doesn't have to do the work of launching the game.
Where's my invite?
Right.
There you go.
And we're planning on having a lot of our friends invited onto the show,
right?
To discuss our monthly, weekly topics. And so
that's one thing we haven't decided, right? The frequency, probably every 2 weeks. No.
I think every 2 weeks as of right now. I don't know if we enjoy it a lot and
probably
pick it up.
At least every 2 weeks recording, I would say.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know if I can talk to you on a weekly basis.
We talk to each other on a nightly basis almost.
Well, I would go daily over nightly. Big difference between daily and nightly? I feel like there is a huge difference between daily and nightly.
Do you?
I do. Nightly is sort of, nightly, it must be dark if you're talking on a nightly basis.
Well, it's
To me,
dark
the
for
sun's
me
still
when we
out.
do it. Right. Well, we're 3 hours apart from each other.
That's
So
true.
to me, it's a nightly basis. To you, it's a daily basis.
And I do, so next, or at some point, we're going to start talking about how we met.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
do have to bring up another good reason for why Where's My Invite is a great podcast name. So maybe you want to start talking, Joe, about
Oh, yeah.
how we
Okay.
met,
Yeah.
or
So both.
maybe your initial impressions of me too included.
Yeah, I'll include those. So I started my college career at University of Virginia's College at Wise. My real college career. I spent 4 years at community colleges before that, and got accepted to UVA Wise for communications actually, because
I
I
didn't
didn't
know that.
fucking I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I went for applied for communications, got accepted. Uh, didn't go my first semester that I was accepted. I worked at my family's brewery. And then I was like, yeah, fuck this. I'm not doing this for the rest of my life. So I checked with the college to see if my offer was still valid, and it was. So signed
Right.
up for classes and all that. And I signed up for
Yeah. What did you sign up for?
programming in C.
Why did you go for that though?
Well, whenever I was working at the brewery, they needed a lot of help with tech.
Okay.
And I knew dog shit about it. I mean,
Oh,
I've always known more than my parents because they're boomers and they don't know anything about tech.
right.
But um, a couple of the guys who worked there were really good in tech, and the brewmaster actually was big into programming. I
Okay.
think he actually worked as a software developer briefly, and so me and him talked about computers some, and I was like, you know what, I might do that. I might try computers. And so I
Just
was
send in a
actually
feeler out.
I signed up for MIS classes,
Oh, well,
and
that
so
makes
it was
sense.
Intro to Programming, Quantum spreadsheets or some shit like
Oh my
that.
god.
I don't know why it was Quantum. It sounded really cool. It was really fucking
It does
stupid. I
sound
dropped
cool.
out really quick. Marketing.
Public speaking,
No,
maybe?
I had public speaking at
Oh, you
community
already had it.
college. And something else I don't remember, but I loved C++ programming class.
Who'd you have it with?
Hatch.
Okay.
And loved that class. It was so much fun programming. I
Right.
decided to switch to computer science. So, fast forward a little bit, I've had a couple classes now, and I am taking the class operating systems.
Right.
And I sit beside the one of the only guys I knew, Ashton.
Who I will point out is probably one of the only guys I knew in that class.
Yeah, and this is like Billy's junior year.
Right.
He was not a very sociable guy,
Oh no. Oh god,
as you'll
no.
come to see. I sat next to Ashton, and on the right side of me, Ashton was on the left. On the right side of me was Billy.
Right.
So my initial impressions of Billy was that he was like a little goth asshole.
Goth. I give
Yeah,
out goth vibes.
at first,
Did I have the long hair?
yeah, you had the long hair.
Okay.
You had the long dark hair. That's the entire reason I thought that you were goth.
Okay,
Was
fair
because you
enough.
had long dark hair.
Was operating systems in the fall or the spring? Do you remember? I feel like it was in the spring.
It had to be in the spring. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Uh. Okay. Keep going.
Okay, so I never paid attention in operating systems. I mainly sat on my computer and played like Google's Worm game.
Right. I
Uh,
remember this.
yeah, I was pretty fucking
Chess?
good at
Was it
that.
chess?
Well, then I played chess a little bit, and one of the
Right.
only interactions I had with Billy that entire semester was I was looked over at Ashton. I was like, I don't know what fucking move to make, and then Billy kind of rolled his eyes and pointed at one piece and pointed to a spot, and so I moved it there. And then I just saw Billy watching my chess game out of the corner of his eye. the
Oh,
rest
that's
of the
true.
time, judging me. And then you played some chess later on.
Right. To show
Uh,
off, presumably.
Presumably, yeah, because I didn't know shit about chess. Really, still don't. But
Right.
that was my first time actually meeting you, and that was the first encounter with you.
Was it?
Yes. So
Okay.
tell your side of that.
Okay. So for me, let's see. I don't know if I remember. I did we sit side by side,
Yeah.
or was there a space in between?
There might have been a space between
I
us.
think that's why because I know on my right was my good buddy Nate, and
Yeah.
Nate sat at the
Yeah.
end, and I was
Right.
one over.
Yeah. That's
Um,
right.
and
There was a space because you rolled over a
would I have to
decent
roll over?
distance to point out where I should move my chess piece. You rolled a pretty
Okay, that
decent
makes
distance.
sense.
Yeah.
And I can't remember exactly if I had a class before, if I would walk in and complain in that class, or just walk in. Uh,
You walked in.
I would walk in,
No, you sulked in.
sulked in.
You looked like you were dead inside.
How
You
early
never
was
looked
this
happy.
class? I
You did not
forget.
look like an approachable person. What time was the
Oh,
class?
and that's a curated look. That's not by you know. I hope I have resting bitch face. You know,
You do, yeah.
right?
Very much, yeah.
Was
So
it
you worked on
midday? I
that.
feel like it was midday. This
No,
class,
I think it was in the evening.
evening. No, I never had an evening class. Not for CS.
Evening for all the most of the fucking CS classes are
Afternoon,
evening.
afternoon.
Afternoon, yeah. I don't mean evening like 5 o'clock. I mean
Well, that's what evening
afternoon, like
means,
okay, well, afternoon, like it was like a 3 o'clock class or something.
right? Oh God, I hate those classes. I'm
Yeah,
trying to picture. I don't know if I had a class right before, um, or if I had a class after. I have to pick up. I have to look at my schedule, but I do. I do know. I was very good at coming to class on time. I felt, but and you can tell me this if this is true or not. I remember my freshman year going to C++ class and arriving anywhere between 30 to 15 minutes early because I enjoyed it. I was excited. I got prepared for class. I took out my notes, etc. Super nerd, super mega nerd. Right, my goody two shoes, everything, the whole package. Right,
okay.
I wore a collared shirt
Oh
right to
wow.
class. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
like
big
polo.
time. Polo. Oh yeah. Polo and jeans. Is how I started my
Okay.
career as uh,
Okay.
a collegiate student or whatever, as an academic. But
Yeah, there you go.
oh yeah, took it very seriously. But what I'm saying is, when in that class, I would come in 30 minutes early, and
Hmm.
I would be like the fifth person in the room. Like there would already be people in my in the coming class who are already there waiting, doing the exact same stuff of preparing for class, being super nerdy.
Right.
We're in this advanced course in OS, so I assume I come in usually about 10, 15 minutes early,
Yeah.
and that's almost always. Usually, I'm very serious at the beginning of the semester in a class, but for this professor, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
I usually start pretty good for him, but then by the end of the semester, I'm watching chess, watching Joe play chess. But usually, 10 minutes in, I'm not really paying attention. But that's really the only chance for me, really, that I care about is to catch up on the gossip. Which professor is giving a shitty test? What's going on? Who's mad at who? Why someone's
Right.
annoying, or who's annoyed who recently? And generally, I didn't really get into any of that. But that was the pretty much the only time if someone was going to say anything to me during
Right.
class, that would be it. And I would come in, I would log in, I would pull up my notes, because I would try to take notes if this is at the beginning of the semester.
Yeah, I always tried.
uh, and I would be very good. I would always open up the slides. Usually the slides were up, and I could look in, make sure, okay, I would at least follow along. At the bare minimum, that's what I was doing, is following along. And during class, I try not to talk to anyone. I found that really annoying and disrespectful because I'm only there for the prof. I don't really care what
Right.
anyone else has to say. about operating systems. But I knew our friend Ashton,
Yeah,
and I knew you sat next to him, and you two seemed to get along. And I know Ashton. Ashton's a great guy.
yeah. He's
Uh, we
well.
would
He
Ashton,
I
if
got
you're
along
listening,
best with him.
you suck. But if he's not, he's generally a great guy.
Yeah, he is.
And so I know through the mutual friend that Joe's an all right dude. But I won't speak to you unless you speak to me. I don't, that's just how I was. I wouldn't chat up anyone. I would if someone spoke to me, I'm okay with talking back to them and saying, hello, whatever.
Right.
But I won't go out of my way to initiate with random conversation uh,
Yeah, I
to
usually won't
anyone.
either.
Right.
Uh,
And this is why we had this impression of me. I don't have any, I don't remember any initial uh, thoughts coming back to me now. I do have one. The only impression that I have of you is I remember a couple times he would be talking about something, our professor, and we would look at each other like, "Any idea?" No. I'm like, "Yeah,
yeah,
fair enough." I have
yeah,
no idea what's going on either. And the only other thing is, I remember we got a test back, or maybe it was a
yeah.
quiz,
I was just thinking about this. Yeah,
and I think I got maybe a high 80, mid 80, and I think Joe got. I feel like it was a low 70.
yeah. It
Like,
was.
and I remember being annoyed at myself because I thought I should have gotten a 90 because it was easy. I think I asked you, do you remember kind of what you were saying?
I was glad that I got a 70.
You were glad you got the 70. I was like, oh, this guy is just an idiot. This guy can't handle this. Like, a 70 in this class is like, how can you be kind of this dumb and not get? I remember thinking that.
Yeah.
Uh, in nicer terms, but just to
Right.
explain.
Yeah.
And so for any of the stuff, like any of the homeworks or anything, I knew I wasn't going to ask you because if you're doing worse to me off the first examination quiz, I
Yeah.
wasn't
I
going to
mean,
go to help, go ask.
I
That would
I
be probably the only time I would talk to you is ask for help or something.
I
It's like,
never
hey, did you
really
do this?
studied for anything.
Right.
Never studied. I can't study to save my fucking life. And so most of the time, like, and I know I had the hour before that class free,
Okay.
and so I would do the quiz or the homework that he gave us.
Right
That was
before?
never he never took up the homework. It was
No.
just he would take a quiz question from the homework, and
Right.
so he gave us the homework to study for the quizzes. I
Right.
would go to Chegg and look up all the answers for that, and then hope that I could pass the fucking quiz. And most of the time, I did. I would always get a
Right.
70.
Yeah. Oh, you
The
should
best.
if you write your name, you should get a 50 on these
Yeah,
quizzes.
yeah. I don't
Uh,
think I ever got below a 50.
getting he the way it went was usually he would just take off points,
Right? Yeah.
and you would start with however many you would start with a passing grade anyway. Even if you got everything wrong, he would be forced then to probably like give you a bad grade,
Right.
but if you at least tried, you could draw a picture of a cat
I was going to
and
say
pass.
if you draw a picture that makes him laugh, he'd give you a few extra points.
Right.
I remember because I always tried to start doing that once I figured it out.
If you apologize in the
Yeah.
test, you'll do fine. So I
Yeah.
remember thinking 70 was pretty low, but because I do remember coming in on quiz days, and there's usually the group think of, okay, what question? Okay, you
Right.
you go to his office right now, ask him what he's doing, come
Yeah.
back and report in to the rest. Right, I do remember that, and that might be the only other time
A
I
lot
would
of the
really
time, that
speak
was
with
Colin
anyone.
Michael that would
Right.
go talk to him.
Right, and it was usually they weren't so bad, but I do remember feeling nervous, and not and maybe anxious about it as well, for the for those quizzes.
Right.
But I would say 90% of the time I might not have even looked in your direction because I
Okay.
think the screen closest to me was on the opposite way,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
you were probably in the complete opposite way.
Yeah.
And from them we didn't even like speak at all,
Yeah.
which I was fine with, and
I mean,
I'm
our
sure you're
first
fine with that too.
semester, we never fucking spoke.
Right. Maybe once or twice, because I do
I
remember
think
one conversation, another conversation as well.
I think we talked. What class did we have after that? Like the next semester, networking.
I was going to ask you that because I don't remember.
I
It
think it
might have
was
been
networking.
networking. Yeah.
And I know you had proofs with
Oh yeah, I did have.
uh,
This
Wilson.
would be my spring senior year.
You had
Oh
proofs
no,
with her. I was
false
scary to say fall.
senior year. Yeah.
Yes. So also your senior year. This is the reason we actually started talking.
Right.
Me and a couple friends, mainly Cameron.
Oh, I do. Okay. Yeah.
Mainly Cameron and John, I think, were talking about wishing that they could compete in college esports.
Right.
And I was like, well, hasn't anyone made an esports club? And they're
Right.
like, no. I was like, okay, well, why don't you make an esports club? And they're like, nah. And so I was like, okay, how about we make an esports club and
Radical.
I'll do all the shit to get it started.
That's all you needed to do that. Yeah.
And I was like, I just need some signatures, basically. I need to talk to some people, figure out the all the shit that I got to do for the college to get it started.
Right.
And then get some signatures and shit. And they're all like, yeah, absolutely. And so we immediately had like 10, 15 people that were like, hell yeah, I'll sign that. Only needed 5 signatures.
I wasn't, I'm sure I wasn't around for the initial sort of
You were not.
conversation.
But you were around right after that. Like once, before we even were an official club, you started
I do
hanging with
remember
us.
that. I did attend the meetings.
Yes.
Maybe 1 or 2 meetings.
And you mainly joined for Overwatch.
That's true.
And Overwatch was really the main reason people wanted to play esports.
I don't think anyone,
Overwatch.
because there's a lot of trouble. You must have had a lot of trouble because people will come in and say, "Hey, I play this game on console." And you're
Yes.
like, okay, well, there's no.
Oh
console.
my god,
There's
that
no
was
console.
so. Even this year now, we've had so many freshmen come in, and they're like, "Yeah, we play on console," and I'm like, "Oh Jesus
No.
Christ!"
Come on, buddy.
And so
This is
we've
collegiate
actually
semi-pro. Okay, we're not on console.
semi-pro,
buddy.
semi-amateur, I think,
Not amateur, semi-pro.
but we actually made a separate chat for them.
I do
in the
remember
Discord
seeing
server
this. Yeah.
because there were so many of them that were on console. But we Billy started playing Overwatch with us. And by the way, I am trash at Overwatch. I mean, absolute dog shit.
Right.
And I think I placed in gold for my first ever placement matches.
A good co-host would say, "No, you weren't that well."
No, I was. I placed gold for my first ever placement matches, and then I went down to bronze.
Right.
And bronze is like what 0 to 1500 SR.
Right. Yep.
I'm at 900. I have not been able to get above 1,000 again. I'm so bad at it. But Billy is a very good tank, and so he was tanking for us.
I was about probably 3 times your rating. I was probably about my peak rating was probably about 3,000.
Yeah.
3,100 something.
Yeah,
like
I mean, I was straight trash. John's really good too. John's a really good tank.
And
he's an all around good player.
And I hadn't played Overwatch for about a year at that point. I would say at least a year. In my Discord, it used to be the big thing at come play Overwatch, and that's how I spent most of my. That's what I did.
Right.
That's what we would do is we'd play Overwatch. You know, pretty much when we would come home from class, everyone would hop on. But we'd sort of like moved on from that, or people, you know, whatever happens, life happens, and we didn't play Overwatch. It got very frustrating for a lot of people, me included.
Yeah.
But I did join the team there. I think you guys were looking for people. It was very fun. It was very interesting. There was a professor. There's a professor I think we both admire, and he sort of in the CS department. He somehow got roped into being like the sponsor, I think.
Yeah, he's my advisor, and so I'd roped him into it.
Right. Okay, I didn't know that.
He was trying to
But
get me to be president of the cybersecurity club.
right.
It's like, hell no. Uh, I was like, how about this instead? And he was like, okay, that actually sounds like a great idea. He
Right.
said he could get behind an esports club.
And he's great. He's a great guy. He's a great
He is.
professor. And I remember talking to him about it, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know what's going on." He just kind of left everything to you,
Yeah.
Joe. And for
He
those
has.
that don't know, Joe's I think still the reigning president and inaugural
Yes.
president.
Actually, I'm
Uh,
supposed to be posting the re-elections. I was supposed to start posting stuff about him Friday, but I forgot.
right.
But we are about to elect new officers, and I will not be running this year. I've been president for 2 years.
Right.
Honestly, kind of fucking tired of it. Want to move on. And
And
I never want to play Overwatch again. As soon as this is over, I'm deleting Overwatch from my computer, never playing it again.
right. And I think one the only other so we're talking about just like straight up conversations that we can remember from when we first met. I think the only other conversation we really had was talking about shows and Stranger Things. Because I remember
Yeah,
this
you had
conversation.
that Steve Harrington hair.
I had the Steve Harrington hair, right?
Right.
And I remember coming back from the summer, and I think you were. You know how when you come back from the summer, there's a spring convocation, and people usually go for you get a cultural credit, which is blah 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 part
Mm-hmm.
of the college.
Yeah.
So people go because it's very easy, it's quick. I went. I remember going to get free stuff. There's all these local businesses and all this stuff. They'll hand out everything. So I still have a lot of free. I got these awesome sunglasses that I still use. Anyway, so I'm going through. There's like all these little booths, and I think I saw you there. Were you at the Lovelace Society one, or was there already the gaming?
There was not the gaming. I was at one for my family's brewery.
Oh, okay. Oh, I don't
Yes.
remember that. I thought you were at
Yeah.
the Lovelace one for some
I was
reason.
also at the Lovelace one at one
Okay.
point. There was two different years. One time I was at the Lovelace. No, actually, both times I had to have been at uh,
Lovelace.
my first semester, my first fall semester. I wasn't affiliated with any clubs, and I was just hanging out at the Lovelace booth because I was thinking about joining. And then the semester after that, I was doing it for the brewery.
Right.
And
Okay.
so, whichever semester, I don't know.
I only went my senior year semester, so I don't know. Or senior year spring. I went my fall or freshman and then my senior. That was it. And I remember leaving the convocation early to go get all the free stuff. Uh, and I remember it was fun. You were like, "Hey, Steve Harrington here," because
Yeah.
I think I was.
Yeah.
I remember that, and it was a good compliment. I was really, I feel my hair. I'm feeling the hair. Uh, but anyway, so that was pretty much the only other
Yeah.
conversation I can remember pre esports club,
And Autumn just told me that her first conversation with you,
right?
it was whenever we were going to the SGA meeting where I talked to them about the esports club to get them to
Right.
approve it.
Is
And
that the first conversation total, or like completely?
between you and Autumn.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And here it is. This is it. I don't know the specifics, but she said that you like tried to insult me or something. Do one of your lighthearted insults,
Right.
and that she just turned around and roasted you, and you laughed, and you're like, okay, okay.
I don't recall. I remember. I had no idea who Autumn was. I don't think we either
Yeah,
had already played Overwatch, maybe a couple times, and that's all I can. This might have been the first time we met face to face,
yeah,
but we
probably.
might have played Overwatch before. Is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but you probably didn't have much conversation. You didn't have
I don't
much
have much
conversations
conversation
with
with
us
at all.
whenever that's true. But whenever you started Overwatch, you didn't talk very much.
No, I didn't because I didn't know pretty much anyone. I don't think I have
Yeah.
to. the only other person I can think of was also a senior who I knew on the team. But we were all pretty much new. Some people I'd never met before. I remember playing early days with Autumn, and Autumn, I think that Autumn has some impression that I would get like mad or angry at her for some reason. But she was like new, and she was only like filling in. She was like our
Yeah.
sub, and like I wouldn't get mad at all. I hope you, Autumn, if you're listening, I was never mad at you. But I do remember walking in, you telling that, and I thought it would be. I was really impressed with the college. Actually, I was really surprised. They had like the whole. It looked like a real big deal. And like that, it was kind of interesting to me because I think I came in late maybe, and I sat behind you. I remember this, and you're sitting next to Autumn.
Hmm.
Again, I can't remember. I that was the first time I met Autumn face to face. That
Right. Yeah.
for sure. But I don't remember if we spoke. I can't remember, and I don't know if she. And if it was the first time I've ever met her, I don't know if she ever mentioned you were dating or if you were engaged at that point.
Yeah. Well, whenever we were waiting for the SGA meeting to come up, and you walked in, because you
Right.
were later than all of us,
Yes, I
but you
think
were
I
still
just came
before
out
the
from
meeting,
class.
right?
Yeah.
And you said something snarky to me, trying to
I'm
insult me, and then that's when she turned around and roasted you. And you went and
I
you
don't
left, and
remember
you're
what
like,
she said.
okay. Yeah, she doesn't either. Uh, and then I had to get up in front of the SGA and pitch the esports club.
I do remember she made me laugh, but I don't. It's hard to picture Autumn being snarky back.
Yeah,
Uh,
she's very snarky. If you
okay.
if you insult her, she's very snarky.
I do remember. So we did build up our synergy, our chemistry through Overwatch team.
Yeah,
But I do remember. I don't remember when exactly this happened, but I remember. So we were getting along well because I think, not to say no one else can take a joke, but of the people to take a joke on the team, it would. I would say it's probably us too. Do
yeah,
you
I would
disagree?
agree. No, I agree.
Right.
Cameron was pretty good about it too.
Oh, that's true. That's true. But you kind of forced to be have to speak the most, and me also having to be forced to speak often to sort of lead the team. I think I was by far the highest ranked player
You
uh,
definitely were.
on the
Ryan
team.
was technically the team captain because he was scheduling everything,
Right.
but he totally just let you command the team around.
And it's easier. It was easier for me to do so because I was in the front, and just the way
Right,
Overwatch works.
right.
Maybe a
Being the
quick
tank.
description of Overwatch. So there's kind of three roles: healer, damage, and tank. And tank, and the way you're supposed to play is tank versus. You kind of form like two or three lines of of your team. Tanks in the front, damage and supports or
Yeah,
healers in the back.
right.
Blah blah blah. And generally it's easier to play the shot caller as one of the tanks because you can
Yeah,
kind of move people and you kind of see more.
right. Yeah.
Anyway, but we kind of had two of the main speaking roles, and I would say of that team, uh, I don't know, very few, seldomly did anyone speak really, or
No,
like
yeah,
speak
that's accurate.
casually,
Right, yeah.
just to shoot the shit, you know.
I mean, I did with Ryan, just because I loved Ryan. He's super. I haven't talked to him since probably early last semester
Right,
because he's been so busy with school and work. But uh, during practice, we seldom spoke casually. Usually, it was during our game nights at the
right.
college, and me and Cameron would we'd bust each other's balls.
Okay, yeah, oh yeah,
Some
I know.
like
I
I'd
knew
make fun of
Cameron
Cameron for
before.
shit.
Mhm. I'm usually very guarded meeting new people and don't want. I enjoy making fun of people, very
Same.
very much so. And you're definitely the most receptive to that, and that's how we sort of started becoming friends. And we would play Overwatch, but it was painful for you because you didn't like. Well, you don't like pretty much anything about the game,
I don't like the game. Yeah.
right? And it
I
was
fucking
painful.
hate it.
It was painful for me because I think. I don't think we ever won a game that wasn't forfeited in my tenure. I don't know.
Uh,
It might be reformed now, but
do you mean like in the actual tournament or just ranked?
we never won a match in the tournament. I would say we won
Yes, that's true.
games, and I
Yeah,
think
very true.
every single time, we were reverse swept.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Uh, yeah, which is very lovely memories, of course, for
We
me.
never won a match, but our first game we did. It was best 3 of 5, and we went to the fifth game because we had
Right.
won two and they had won two, but we never won a match unless
We
it was
won,
forfeited.
and we won the first two of every
Yeah,
match
I
too.
know. Yeah,
Uh,
we do good. Then, like you said, reverse swept.
we need a moment of silence for me, really.
All
I
right, a
need a
moment of
moment to
silence for
recover.
Billy. Okay. Well, uh, and after Overwatch, well, during Overwatch, you actually got me into playing Rocket League.
How did that happen? Do you remember? I don't remember. I don't
I
really.
remember you bringing up that we should have. You brought up a lot of suggestions for teams to have, like Hearthstone. You brought up
Oh
Hearthstone.
Jesus!
That didn't go anywhere at all.
God no.
You brought up Rocket League and a couple others, and so we made a Rocket League one, and that's actually why I started playing Rocket League. As the president, I felt like I needed to
Yeah,
be
you
really active
forced. Yeah.
and try to play in all these games as a filler. That's 100% of the reason why I played Overwatch, because they
Right.
couldn't get anybody else
Right.
and
We
they
got
had
enough
to have
people that
six.
Autumn didn't need to play,
Right. But I still
but
had
not for
to.
you.
Yeah. Uh, and that's actually how I met Trey, was through Rocket League, the
Okay,
esports team.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. John was playing on the team, and
Okay.
John, and who I don't remember who our third was, but me, John, and our third played as quote unquote scrim against Trey, Jacob, and another friend of theirs.
Okay.
And me and
You
Trey were the only ones on the teams that it was basically a 1v1 between me and Trey.
right? Okay.
And Trey was beating me. He still beats me in 1v1s.
Sure.
Dude's really fucking good at 1v1s. And so I was like, hey, you go to college here, right? And he said, yeah. I was like, why don't you play on the Rocket League team? And he was like, oh, I'd love that. And so
Okay.
it was Alex Dean. Alex Dean was our third.
Okay.
Alex was begging me to find somebody else to play on the Rocket League team. So
I
Trey
don't
filled
remember.
in for him. And
Okay.
then a guy named John something.
This might have been okay. So I think John Hamilton must be no.
Maybe.
Anyway, because I think I started pushing Rocket League because I had other friends. There was some sort of game night, like Welco, or like I think it was an interest meeting, and I brought a couple friends
Yeah,
who weren't in the MCS department,
right.
uh, and I think they pretty much only played on console, and also
Yep.
Rocket League was probably the only thing they played that was not.
Yes. The
Um,
guy's username is Kahoshi, by the way.
okay, I don't know who that is, honestly.
But he was really fucking good. I mean, like compared to us, me and Trey, and John, he was really fucking good. So me and Trey were Diamond 1, I think, at the time,
Okay.
and John was like Gold 3, and John was Champ 1.
Okay, yeah, I think it is the John that I brought in.
And so we had to have a talk with John.
Oh yeah,
And
okay, yeah, he has.
I
Sorry, I'm
mean,
looking on the Discord right now.
not
And
the Champ 1 John, but the Gold 3 John. We had to have a talk with Jonathan, I'll say,
okay.
and had Champ 1 John replace Jonathan. And we actually won a few matches in the tournament.
Oh, okay, I didn't know this.
Yeah, so first match, it was against 3 grand champs.
Okay, it's a wash.
First game, we lost like 5-4, I think. It's very
Okay,
close, actually. Second game, we lost like 6-1. We
this
kind
is
of
a
lost
best of
our
what? A best of three?
best
or-
of 3, yeah.
Okay.
Second game, we lost like 6-1. We'd lost all of our motivation. And then We went to the losers bracket, won against some fucking scrubs. I mean,
Right.
they were trash. And then we played against like some champs, and we beat them a lot, by a lot. We whooped them. And then we went up against some grand champs who were just freestyling on us.
And what
And
and when was this? Was this
this
before or
was
after I graduated?
this was would have been last spring.
Okay, let me do the mental math.
So you were
So I
still
what?
there?
I think I was. Oh Jesus Christ! I was
No,
so
no, no,
busy.
no. This was last semester.
Okay, then no.
Yeah,
Okay.
this was last semester.
I would have played in the tournament if we had one. I think we were too late in the season for me
We
at that.
were, yeah. Uh, but ever since then, you and Mark and I played a lot, and Peter Birdman or whatever
Right. When you were new and
to
I
your
was
Discord.
coming back. Yeah.
Yeah. We played with Mark, Alex, Peter, Garrett, all the people in your Discord,
Right.
and
Did
I really, really got into Rocket League because of that.
That's true. And for the longest time, you were my bitch. You were worse than me.
That's true.
And
Yeah.
recently, not that recent,
Recently,
but recently, in the grand scheme of things, so like yesterday, maybe. And this is an if. Joe has come.
yesterday.
Joe has surpassed me.
No,
Because I
not
refuse. I
maybe
refuse to do.
yesterday.
I refuse to do the training. Okay. Maybe once or twice I've gone and said, okay, enough. Okay, I'm the better player, right? But I've willingly, gladly now cede no longer being the second best player usually when we play, or even the first best sometimes. So I can not throw, so I can kind of mosey around and not worry. Not I don't have to try hard anymore when we
Right.
play.
Yeah.
Thankfully,
I mean, I would say it was probably what last. It was definitely last semester. I was better than you.
last semester.
Last semester, whenever I hit diamond in
Okay,
twos and
I'll take your word
threes.
for it because
Yeah.
I don't operate in semesters. Okay, I don't operate in semesters anymore.
Well, Rocket League, my mind operates in semesters because
Okay,
it's mainly been around the esports. Now it's not so much, but uh, so like last fall would have been whenever I surpassed you.
that
But
sounds fair. I think
that's okay. We
okay,
don't have to
but
nitpick here.
for me, I would have only acknowledged you this semester as better than me.
Okay.
Okay,
At
uh,
least you do acknowledge it now, though.
I do acknowledge it now. I think one good thing about our sort of partnership, domestic partnership, I mean,
Hmm.
no, uh, about our friendship is that we don't really care. We can kind of pretty much insult each other.
Yeah.
And what's nice is you can't really do that with a lot of people, or at least with other people. I feel bad. I don't feel bad about insulting you.
Yeah. I
Uh,
mean, same.
right.
I mean, I'm not going to insult you for stupid little petty shit. The insults have to be
Oh, they're in good
in
taste.
good
They're all in
taste,
good
right?
taste. And if we have gotten on each other's nerves, and I can only think of one time Joe was getting on my nerves, but I was being a bit of a prima donna, if I remember. Joe said something. We do make sure. There was one time that I realized I more so realized this. This goes back to Autumn, Joe's wife. Okay, uh,
Okay. You
and
said why really aggressively.
because it's not well. Look, I remember her, you. This is you telling me, and now me telling you, the listener, of a conversation Joe and Autumn had, where Autumn was like miffed, perplexed. She's like, "Why do you play with Bill? He just like puts you down all the time." Do you remember what she said?
I was like, Billy? Billy's a really cool guy. Billy's a really nice guy. He's really
Right,
fucking funny.
right. And I remember being so like, "Oh wait!" I remember realizing, "Oh wait, Joe and I are friends." Actually,
Hmm.
this is probably the first time I realized we were friends. And this is after talking, probably for a year at this point.
Yeah, probably.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean that's how you know I'm your friend is when I insult you.
right.
Well, I shouldn't say that because I don't really
No, no,
insult
no.
Trey and Merc.
That's true.
That and it's nothing against them at all. I
Right.
love both of them a lot, but it's just different personality styles. And
Right.
I do bust Merc's balls sometimes, but it's not like on the level that you and I insult each other.
It's true. It's true.
Especially playing Rocket League. I actually consider them my teammates because we play regularly and try to help each other improve. And so I'm
Well,
not going
yeah.
to
Okay.
insult their play
There's the
styles.
key. We play regularly, but they want to improve. I
Right.
enjoy. I dislike training because I enjoy the pure sort of joy of being able to hit the ball in Rocket League. Like when you first start, you're screaming and you're leaning in, and I still lean in and I still scream. But I don't know. It almost feels bad because I'm a competent player.
Yeah,
I'm like
you are a
probably top
competent
fifty
player.
percent if you like go by
Yeah.
rank and whatever. But I think if you train, if I took it seriously, it would lose some of the magic for me. But I don't mind that at all. But okay, here's another
Yeah.
thing,
Okay, go ahead.
and I might have alluded to this earlier. I hope I did with the name of the podcast, and you and Autumn. Okay,
Okay.
now I didn't realize, how much older, how you're basically almost on dialysis at this point. You're so much
Right.
older than
Okay.
me. 3 years old, 3 or 4 years older
Uh,
than me.
okay. Continue.
But I remember being surprised when you told me you're engaged.
Yeah.
Not
Oh,
because
yeah.
not because you couldn't, not because I think you can't get any,
Right.
but just being a general surprise to me, like, oh, people are getting engaged, like
Yeah. Getting to
at
that
this point,
point in your life where people your age or who you thought were your age
right? And you can tell
are getting
me.
engaged.
So I would joke with Joe about where's my invite to his wedding.
Yeah.
And this is constant. This is just about every time I see Joe. Hey,
Yeah.
I haven't gotten my invite to the wedding, but this is my final semester, I think.
It is. Yeah.
This is probably spring, my senior year.
When
I
COVID
don't
hit.
know if we had any. Do we have any classes together that year?
Yeah, I think so. I don't remember what,
We
but I
might have
think
had
we
one
had
or
one.
two. I had a million classes that year,
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to remember any of them. But
We had architecture together, didn't we? No.
no, I had architecture after networks or
Architecture
before
was last
one of them.
semester for me.
Okay, yeah, no.
We had some class last semester or the spring semester together. Wait, it's fucking networks, wasn't it?
I didn't have networks my last semester.
Oh, that networks was fall.
That was fall. Spring, I took 8 courses my final semester. And
Yeah, I'm sure we had something together.
this is the semester that's half COVID, half not. We had
Right?
programming
Yeah.
languages together. That's what we did together.
Yes. Progling. Yeah.
And this is pre-COVID,
Yeah.
which is, and you got married. I will say at a good time, right before,
Perfect time, actually.
literally the spring break of COVID, before COVID, before everything got canceled and moved to online.
Yeah, we went on spring break. March 7th was the beginning of our
Good that you
spring
remember
break.
this because this is your anniversary.
It is my anniversary, March
Good,
7th.
good.
March 7th was technically our first day of spring break, and we did not go back to college after that.
Right. I still haven't been back. Oh, well, actually, I've been back a couple times.
Autumn and I were supposed to get married in Austria,
Oh,
but to avoid the lengthy paperwork, we were going to have a small wedding here in the States, mainly so that, the geriatric members of our family who
who caught invites, okay.
but who couldn't travel to Austria, we were going to have a small courthouse wedding here for them.
Right.
And then we were going to get married in Austria, have our real wedding there. And so we were getting married.
But a little bit of a ceremony, right? A little bit of dancing, I'm presuming. Or was it
What?
just pure courthouse, the marriage?
It was just pure court. Well, I'm getting to that.
Okay.
So we set up our wedding March 7th for the courthouse. And Frau Harris, Dean Harris, or as me and Autumn call her, Queen Harris.
This is what, the dean of the whole college? Or
Yes.
Okay.
She's also the German professor.
Is she? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
that's how Autumn got to be so familiar with her, and that's why she liked me because I had 2 semesters of German with her, and which
Okay.
is why we were invited on the Austria trip. And
Ah,
so, yes, and so she was going to officiate our wedding. Her and
okay.
Autumn are close.
Okay.
Yes,
Autumn,
very
Autumn's gonna
close.
get the job. You're gonna have to come back to Wise.
So, Frau Harris was going to officiate our wedding out there, and so we didn't invite her to this wedding.
I can relate.
And then, like a week or two before our state's wedding, she was like, "Hey, it might not happen. COVID's getting kind of bad." And we're like, "Fuck, this might be our only wedding." And so Autumn's mom
I hope it's your
started,
only wedding
yeah,
in
well,
general. I
same, yeah.
guess.
But Autumn's mom started prepping a little bit more. She got food catered from mine and Autumn's favorite restaurant up
Hmm.
that way where we got married, and invited a few more people. Still didn't invite Frau Harris, by the way. Don't know
Or
why.
me.
Or well, and
Where's my
so
invite?
and so we that ended up being our only wedding. And so we went to the Martha Washington. Do you know what that is?
No, it's a hotel.
In Abingdon, yes. It's a
Okay.
very nice,
Whew.
very, very nice hotel.
Okay.
Very historical hotel. Supposedly haunted. We were hoping for a ghost. Didn't get
What
one.
did Martha Washington stay there? Is that why it's named that?
Fucking probably, I
Okay, I
guess.
hope so. It would just be random.
Uh, but we stayed there a night. Very nice hotel, and went shopping the next day in Bristol, and then came back home. And
Right.
then that Tuesday, I my boss for my new job at the time um, came down for a quote unquote retreat. And so we were working in an office with him. It's normally a remote job. We were working in
Oh,
an
I
office with
remember
him.
this retreat. I remember
And
this.
I
Yep.
was sitting in the office with him, the CEO of the company, his son, and the other interns. And
Right.
we all started getting emails about UVAYs being closed for the next couple weeks. And we were like, oh, fuck yeah. And then everything just fucking shut down. And so we
Right.
got it in right under the wire.
Well, I remember because gosh, and please, and you can like check this, and I remember being totally wrong about the coronavirus and thinking I at the time I was in Williamsburg visiting my mom, and in Williamsburg's this awesome theme park, Busch Gardens,
Yeah.
and I remember being so bummed because they were gonna open. We For me driving is very taxing, and it was like about a 6 hour drive back from Wise or to Wise from Williamsburg. And I remember being bummed because the day I planned to drive back, like the next day, Busch Gardens was going to open. And I was
Right.
so bummed about that. And I remember getting the emails and all this stuff, sort of the surreal. I remember the NBA canceling, and I was thinking like, wow, NBA's canceling? That's whack. And then the school canceled. Because I was excited to watch like the NBA and like on my spring break and all this stuff. And I remember pretty much my first thought once, first the elation of having an extra sort of week of spring break, and then thinking, oh, now I can go to Busch Gardens. Like I don't have to go back. And of course, I never got to go
Oh.
during that whole time because they closed as well. And I blame them for that. And I remember talking to Peter, who said he was afraid of it. And I remember thinking, like, afraid of it, and like all the BS statistics like we had it then, and how we didn't know much about it,
Right.
et cetera, et cetera. But that's when we really spent more and more time with each other because we couldn't really do anything, and
Yeah.
that's when we played a lot of Rocket League together,
Yes, it
sort of
is.
over that period, which is enduring at the moment.
Yeah. And I mean, COVID's still fucking happening. I'm
Right.
still, and don't get me wrong. I actually love essentially being house ridden.
Man, I don't know. I go outside, but I don't know when the last time like I drove my car was. Like
Really?
I don't like driving.
Why don't you like driving?
I hate
You said
driving
that it was very taxing for you. Is it a personal thing?
because okay, well,
Is it like
you know how
hemorrhoids or
earlier I
something?
was saying I'm a very goody
IBS.
two shoes.
Yeah.
No, I'm very goody two shoes about certain things.
Okay.
Still, so okay, for example, if you're at a crosswalk, right?
Hmm.
And I saw a TikTok about this. Okay, that very much so nailed the you know whatever the cut this out when I can't get my freaking metaphors right. But he was talking about how you know how you press the button if you're at a crosswalk and you wait. Okay,
Right.
I
Yeah.
wait. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Okay, I wait. I don't go when the hand is like okay.
Right.
The whole
Yeah.
time
Hmm.
I wait. I listen. I follow the laws. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm never gonna get caught jaywalking. Okay,
Yes.
don't bring me to jail for that. And I'm the same way about driving. When I first started to drive, my favorite thing was finding trucks on the highway because I could
Okay.
just follow them and go the speed limit.
Oh,
And
okay.
it took me a long time. I'm not. I didn't realize how dangerous it was to drive the speed limit as well because everyone's, you just go the speed of traffic, etc.
Right.
But but man, when I first tried, oh my god, going over the speed limit, I couldn't do. I morally, I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to go over the speed limit, and anything above 5 miles over, I couldn't do. I couldn't do it.
I got a speeding ticket for reckless driving for going 30 over the speed limit one time.
Right. Okay. Just one time.
I've gotten a lot of speed. Well, I've never actually gotten a speeding ticket. It's always been knocked down.
Okay.
Most of the time, I've been able to talk my way out of it.
Sure.
And then the time with the reckless driving, we'll talk about that in another episode. But
Okay.
I eventually got it knocked down to defective equipment and driving school.
Man, I could never. I hate it. I hate driving. I get so nervous. I get sweaty. I get nervous. I can't.
I love driving.
When I
Um,
remember learning to drive. Oh my god, this is okay. Well, so when I started learning how to drive, okay, this I started to learn to drive. I got my permit pretty much as soon as I could get it, maybe like 15 and a half. And I
mhm,
got my license um, at 16 and 3 months because you had to wait 9 months for
right,
whatever reason. But I remember taking driving lessons, um, doing the behind the wheel for Virginia. And that was pretty much, there was like, I shouldn't, this is bad, but I never took a test beyond the permit test.
I
I just
didn't
kind of
either.
got my license.
Same.
And my man, Sam the man, was my driving instructor. This, I think, oh man, he was African. I think he was from Ghana. And in my background, with my like sort of international background, which we can talk to later, I had a good shot of understanding what he was saying. But man, I was stressed. I was stressed when he was teaching me how to drive. Sometimes, like what he was saying, and he wouldn't say things I understood immediately. He would have to like. It took me a second to understand, which is not good when you're driving, right? Especially in the DMV
Right.
area near Washington. So he would say stuff like, "Really, turn the wheel to the boom when turning." Like, what? What are you talking about? Turn the wheel to the boom. Turn the wheel to the boom. And I've told this story many times to my other friends, but I was sort of I wasn't the oldest at the time in high school, but I was getting it done ahead of everyone else in my friend groups at least at the time.
Right.
And he would say all this stuff, but the one that stuck with me is "Turn the wheel to the boom." And I don't remember what we were talking about. I think I was reversing out of a parking spot, and goddamn, I had so much trouble. I've never crashed into another car or like completely dinged up everything, but him instructing me
So
that was
what was he actually saying?
okay. So what does it mean? Turn the wheel to the boom. What is the boom? So when you turn your wheel all the way,
Yeah.
it like makes a little sound like when
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily like crash. That's what he wanted me to do.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't turning it far enough because I was trying to figure out how to reverse and like it constantly threw me off how when you're in reverse the wheel goes the other way. I know. real rocket science. But
Yeah, that
at the
never
time,
fucked with
it
me.
was confusing, and I remember, I was so nervous. I could the wheel was like wet with my sweaty hands. So I like God, like when I would come home from the West, I would be like sweating through my shirt and have to like change my shirt. I hate it. I hate driving. I hate driving. If I could be chauffeured, I would.
I love driving.
But what's worse than driving for me is being a passenger in a car I don't trust. If you're okay, if you're a good driver,
Yeah,
that's
see, I
fine.
don't like to be driven. I almost always have to drive.
Right.
I
I would
hate
prefer
being
to be
driven.
driven.
I hate being driven.
Pretty much everyone in my life is a worse driver than me. Pretty much.